Yeah. Jordan, would you like to call us to order?
Yeah, I can. Hi, everyone. If we could take our seats and get ready. I'm also going to turn it over to Nathan to actually kick us off because he's in person. It'll be easier.
Hold on. What are we doing? All right, everybody.
Yeah, I've been like making my way around. Set.
I think we're gonna start to get started.
So pleased to see you. Are we using a mic? Jordan, can you try it again, please? See if you're a little bit louder now.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
I should ask that you guys can see the interpreters so that those can be seen on the TV. If the interpreters can turn their video on. No,
The video's on.
yeah, if you guys can pin them.
Oh, pin them.
Oh, pin them.
The people sitting at the
Thank you.
round tables are city representatives and the commissioners. They're also, like Heidi, who I was just talking with, she's about our liaison from the building and zoning is across the street. And we have
Like that?
supposedly from our department here.
Oh.
Here's the.
We are doing it on this computer.
And all this is here, and I want to talk to his office, and thanks for Sarah. Thanks. So good to see.
Yeah, sorry, this is not your fault to be met.
Yeah, well, Each Friendly Innovation Center, yeah. I know, I've seen you, several times before this meeting, but, no, yeah.
You want me to start it?
Yeah, really.
I can ask Jordan. Jordan, can you go ahead and say your spiel again, please?
Yes. Hi, everyone. If we could take our seats and just come to the center so we can get started. We're 4 minutes past time. I'm not sure how many commissioners are in person, but I have so far Bob, Tessa, Trisha, Alexia. I think I heard Justin was there, and then I see Grace. Do we have any additional commissioners? Okay. Perfect. Then we have reached a quorum, so we can actually move forward. I think that's a quorum of people who have, Josh will have to tell me if I'm wrong, but do we have a quorum of people who have been sworn in? Okay.
Yes.
For the sake of ease, I was going to turn it over to Nathan to walk through the agenda since he's in person. If that's okay with Nathan still, just because I can't see everyone in the room. So Nathan, if you want to start us off with introductions in the room, and then I can do introductions here virtual.
Cool, thank you. Sorry, everyone. The technology has never been our strong suit here. But I'm gonna try my best and just make sure we're all able to hear okay. If you do have any issues with accessing any of the information here today or any spoken language, just speak up, raise a hand, do whatever you need to do to get our attention. My name is Nathan Grodinko. I'm the outgoing secretary for the former committee on disability issues for Columbus. I'm going to pass it over to my left here, and just start having folks here in the room present with us, go around and introduce themselves. So yeah, so I'll pass it to Unha.
Hi, my name is Eunha Sa. I'm one of the new commissioners in the room here, and it's like. Here.
Hi, I'm Justin, one of the commissioners. Oh, sorry. Hi, my name is Justin Simmons, and what was we supposed to say? I'm sorry. You're a commissioner. Yeah, one of the commissioners here, sorry. Hi.
You're my third here, and then if you want to use the right party. Hold on. Hello, everybody, this is Janae Miller. I'm one of the commissioners here in person. Hello, I'm Trisha. I go by Trisha Kovacs. I'm also a Commissioner.
I'm Bob Reeve, one of the new commissioners. And this table's ended, so there's further people beyond me.
I'm Jenny Hanna. Oh, is this not? Nope.
Mike.
Oh, there we go. I'm Jenny Hanna from Department of Human Resources. Used to be the CAFD liaison and then still be sometimes. So.
Good afternoon, my name is Zane Jones. I'm the Assistant Director of Talent Resources and I work in Human Resources.
I'm Angie Wise. I am the City of Columbus ADA Coordinator.
Josh Carty, Assistant City Attorney.
Belinda Spinosi, Disability Advocate.
Nate Wilkins, a first time endorsement of the Area Commission.
Good afternoon, I'm Kara Flannery, Department of Building and Zoning Services Human Resources Officer.
Hi, everyone. My name is Trina Paxton, and I'm an advocate with Deaf World Against Violence Everywhere DWAVE. And then, hello, everyone. I'm the interpreter that just spoke. I'm with Trina at DWAVE. My name is Denny.
Afternoon, I'm Josh Levin with Public Service with the City of Columbus. I'm the pavement program manager.
Hi, I'm Alec Novelis with Public Service and I'm in the pavement group as well.
Or just introduce your names.
Hi, my name is Nicole Carter. Hi. Is that all I'm saying, dear? Okay.
We got one more person in the room. You're too kind.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Jennifer Moore and I'm with the Department of Finance, the Department Liaison. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, I am going to do my best here to pass it over to the folks who are online with us today. So first name I see is Alexia.
Hello, this is Alexia, one of the new commissioners.
Awesome, thank you. Next I see Pedro.
Hi, everybody. My name is Pedro Mejia. I am the representative from the City of Columbus Department of Neighborhoods for this commission.
Wonderful, thank you. Next I see Grace.
Hi everyone, my name is Grace Schultz. I am one of the new commissioners.
Awesome, thank you, Grace. Angie, do we have anyone else here on the call with us? Sue, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm working on it. I'm Sue Hetrick. I'm the director at the Center for Disability Empowerment here in Columbus, and also a parent.
Great, thank you. Anyone else on the call?
You want to let Jordan introduce himself?
Jordan.
Did I not introduce myself yet? Okay, fair enough. Hi, everyone. Jordan Ballinger. I am the acting chair and outgoing chair of the committee, and I am so excited to elect the new officers today of the commission, so we no longer have to be acting members presiding over the meetings.
Awesome, thanks, Jordan. We have another person joining us here in the room today.
Hi, sorry, wait, I'm Tessa Wilson. I'm one of the new commissioners.
Awesome, thank you, Tessa. Angie, is that everyone? Wonderful. All right, cool.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. So that was everyone introduction wise. I'm gonna pass it over to Angie real quick in case she has any ADA coordinator updates.
Thank you, Nathan. I'm gonna keep my section pretty brief. This is just a friendly reminder that we have a meeting immediately following this one, so we will need to exit outside of the meeting room once we are done at 3:30. Josh is gonna do another part of my update, so I'm gonna give the microphone to him real quick.
Hello, this is Josh Carty, Assistant City Attorney. We have 9 sworn members of CACT so far. I believe we still need to coordinate a couple schedules for Grace and Katrina, but everyone else has been sworn in. Just wanted to take this opportunity to give a friendly reminder about limiting discussion on emails. So I know we probably want to talk about substantive things, but those really should happen in this room. And I know it's an easy thing to do and forget about, but please keep your substantive conversations for the context of a public meeting. Yes, Janae?
So when you say substance, give me an example what you mean.
So substantive is going to be anything that could possibly come before the commission to decide upon, advocate for, recommend. One example would be any commentary on existing ADA plans or lack thereof would be something substantive that would likely come before the commission or has the potential to come before the commission. If we're talking about like meeting scheduling, I don't see that as substantive, but it's better to err on the side of not having discussions over emails just to be in compliance with Ohio's open meetings law.
Okay, so basically you're saying is, if we are having a discussion about whether it's Braille or the issue with the elevator, we should be talking about that on the email. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not sure I was on the email thread that you might be referencing, but if it's like logistics about a meeting, I don't see that as substantive access to a meeting. And sometimes it's a fine line, given the topic that you just mentioned with the charge of the commission. But I think probably best to err on the side of sending questions to Angie or me as your legal counsel, rather than doing a reply all to everyone on the email thread.
Interesting. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do a lot of social media, so I think I might have made a boo-boo, maybe Josh. There was a video by the Department of Public Service on their new test session place where they test signals, and I suggested on there, it'd be great if we had people with disabilities there to look at how they, how well they work, especially like the audible signals. And I even use CACT as an example. It'd be great for the CACT Commission to come and do that. So I did send it to Angie too, but are you saying that I shouldn't do that on social media? It was on Facebook.
You are free as a public official to comment on social media. Just know that there may be some public records implications for what you post on social media, but I don't see that as implicating the open meetings law. If you are, commenting on something in your individual capacity, even in what you believe is your capacity as commissioner,
Okay.
that's okay.
I'm just thinking I should have suggested CACT should read, I should have just said, it'd be good for me to keep that in mind. That'd be okay, probably.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Wow.
I'm Bob Ream. Speaking as a survivor of traumatic brain injury, I'm fairly high functioning until I get exhausted, then I don't want to engage anymore. And getting an email from CACI 5 times an hour was just insane. And I talked with the director of the Ohio Brain Injury Association, and she just stopped listening after 150.
Yeah, again, I wasn't on this email thread, but I was just advised to keep discussions to this room.
You have another question?
I'm sorry, can we toggle and pin the interpreter? They switch every like 20 to 15 minutes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And then Alexia has her hand raised online. Go ahead, Alexia, please.
This is Alexia. I just want to do a quick access reminder / request. For when you start speaking, can you say your name of who is speaking? It's really difficult to follow if you're just following the captions or the interpreter to know who is talking, especially folks in person. So you can just say this Alexia or Alexia before you speak. That'd be super helpful. Thank you.
Belinda.
I'm the one who started the online conversation about the elevators that broke into the Braille.
Going like.
I'm Belinda. I'm the one that introduced the email chain on the elevators and then broke into the Braille. We are not officially running yet, and we're still having problems. So what I would like for the commission to consider, still the email about the need for all the policies that we need to write, but also a process where the public can speak to you about these issues. We may not bring them online, but we still need to discuss them. So please keep that in mind. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments about this? Okay. Okay. So just things to keep in mind. I think the other, to Belinda's point, making sure that we're just being mindful about how commissioners are interfacing with public folks, like people in the community. I think it's going to be really important as well. Easiest remedy that I come up with since is just making sure that any kind of external communication going out through the ohiocafety@gmail.com listserv is just blind carbon copied going forward. And that should hopefully remedy, if you need to respond or reach out to commissioners going forward, that is the email address that can be used. Cool. So we'll go into this next section here, Commissioner Meet and Greet. This was requested by the commissioners present at the last meeting to kind of get to know one another, kind of learn about each other's history in the disability space, their previous advocacy work that they've done. This would also be the time too for folks to kind of learn about each other's passions for leadership opportunity, particularly for the commission. So as you know, there are multiple roles for CACD to elect amongst the commissioners. That includes the chair, who is essentially running the show, and then the vice chair, who kind of supports administratively, and then the secretary, who takes the minutes, and then a historian role that was created to kind of help preserve the legacy of the commission, both now and in the future here. So, last time when we discussed this, the idea was to ensure that members felt like it was open and, accessible enough to be able to share freely. How formal it was, I think we kind of left up to the commissioners. And so that's what I'm going to honor today, and just leave it up to you all to decide how you want to kind of go about this. In my head, I'm kind of thinking, maybe we each give a little spiel about ourselves, right? Or we could just have a kind of general kind of dialoguing back and forth, but it's totally up to you guys. We've allotted about 30 minutes for this. And then following this dialogue, we would step into kind of officer election time. So I'm going to open the floor to any thoughts about how we want to do this, or if folks don't really have an opinion, which is totally fine too, then I'll just start maybe facilitating that. Nicole.
Hi, this is Nicole. Does anybody have a timer? So that we can be timed? I would think that 2 to 3 minutes, if you can't tell us who you are in that time frame, I'm gonna go first. Because I want to hurry up, so go ahead and throw the timer on. My name is Nicole Carter. I own an organization called Unlimited Possibilities for All Disabilities. We are a social enterprise. We've been doing the All Disabilities Festival for 11 years. We just celebrated our 11th year this past Sunday. My son is 19. He has autism. I am currently on a mobile scooter. My advocacy in this space, I've done radio, television, I've done a lot of stuff community-wise. a partridge in a pear tree. I want to see that signed. I am, my interest is, it varies. I was looking at chair, vice chair, historian, those were the areas of interest. I am very passionate, I'm very level-headed. So, and I'm also here to protect Angie. No, I'm joking, I'm gonna say that a lot. But, well, I said it. No, I'm here because I believe that, we have an amazing city, we have an amazing state. And because we have people who are disabilities friendly right now, we're considered to be, of course, there's some areas that we need to sharpen, get more together. But I am very happy about, some of the things that you guys have been doing as a commission. You guys rock. Regardless of what people say, anytime somebody decides to have a heart and a passion for a community that's been marginalized and overlooked, it means a lot to me. My whole goal here is to be encouraging, be inspiring, and also be a place of resource. You'll hear laughter coming out of me. I'm not super serious all the time, so I just want to say that I'm a person that loves fun. Of course, I do take care of business. You can look at my track record. If you need to Google me, you'll Google me. You can Google Lady Extreme. That's also my other name. That's LadyXtreme. And my goal is for you to feel inspired and encouraged. Am I at my time? I appreciate that. All right, next.
Awesome, thank you, Nicole. I saw a hand raised, Janae.
Oh, I have a question. Where are you running for?
Oh,
So-
we're running for.
Position you're running for, so.
Oh, okay. You want to-
So, Justin Simmons, one of the commissioners, just asked, for clarification about Nicole's intentions to run. And I believe it was chair, vice chair, and historian.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm open to those.
cool.
Or just be a chick on the side.
Okay, and then, I saw that Janae's hand was raised, so I am going to give the floor to her.
It's on your right. Oh, okay. All right. My name is Janae Miller. I am jockeying for the position of vice chair. And I am an individual who was blind and I like the term hearing impaired, but I know the deaf community, they like the term hard of hearing. I'm a little different. I've been a disability advocate for as long as I can remember, since coming out of college and coming to terms with the fact that my vision was changing due to glaucoma. I am a part of the American Council of the Blind, which is one of 3 of the major blind civil rights organizations in this country. I currently serve as the chapter president for the Columbus, Ohio chapter, and I currently sit on the board of directors for the state affiliate. I'm also on the board of directors for an organization called Greenleaf Job Training Services, because I believe that one of the issues in the disability community is employment and the ability for people with disabilities to earn a living so that they can live the life that they want to live and have an equitable life. I'm also here to make sure that the voice of those who are blind and deafblind is heard. But I noticed that in a lot of general disability spaces, we are lastly considered. That's been my view and my opinion. Some people might say different, but I also know that other disabilities matter as well. I want to make sure that everybody has a seat at the table when it comes to people with disabilities, even though I would toot a little louder for my actual own disability. And so I want to make sure that the commission is doing what it can to work with the city leaders to make sure that Columbus is a wonderful place to live, and that if we need to stretch across the state to make partnerships, we need to do that. Because this city and state where I've grown up and lived most of my life, if not all my life, gone to college in, matters to me. And so again, I'm really jockeying for vice chair, and I hope that I can be of a service. I'm willing to talk, I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to hold your hand if I need to. I'm open for conversations. So that's kind of my spiel.
Perfect, and that was just on time too. All right. Anyone else want to go? I'm gonna pass it over to Trisha.
Yeah, hello, I'm Patricia Kovacs. I go by Tricia. My background is that, I started with CACT. I think I might be here the longest, because I started when Mary Highland was a member. She's blind and she needed a ride here, so I would take her here. I think it was around 2010 or something. But I've been an official member since 2013, and I've served on all the roles of chair, vice chair, never historian, but secretary. So I didn't ever say I had a disability, but I do now, because I have something called ocular myasthenia, which I've had since my late 20s, but it's always been, it'll come, I get droopy eyelids and double vision. And it used to come last a month and then go away for 5 years, so, it's come 10 times in my life, but this time it's staying, and I'm gonna see a doctor tomorrow, so I'm hoping there's something they can do besides the medicine I take, which doesn't really work real well. But besides that, I've been a volunteer at Goodwill Columbus since 1990, where I met another person who's blind, Deb Wood, some of you might know her. And I used to shop with her. She lived independently, and it allowed her to be independent by taking her shopping once a week. So for 20 years or so, we shopped. She now lives in assisted living, so I still see her, but we don't have to do as much. But through Deb, and then I also through Mary, who Mary's a bicyclist, we would ride tandem together. I learned a lot about issues for people who are blind. And the one that kind of was important to me is transportation. Because I'm a bicyclist also, and a bicycle advocate, I try to make sure that the bicycle infrastructure doesn't adversely impact people with disabilities. So like bike lanes that maybe are hard to cross, things like that. So I also want to say I serve on a lot of bicycle advocacy groups. The main one is the National Committee that reviews infrastructure design. I was telling people are bike lane, signs, signals, and pavement markings. And I'm particularly on the bicycle committee, but I'm also on the pedestrian committee. And I try to keep disability issues in mind when we make proposals to the federal highway.
And that is time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Trisha. Wonderful information. Who is next? Who would like to go?
I can go.
All right, thank you, Unha.
Hi, my name is Unha Sa. I work at the Age Friendly Innovation Center, which is a program of OSU College of Social Work. I'm a social worker, working closely with older adults. Older adults and like aging is so important to me, because aging is a universal process for everybody. We all experience, and disability issue is also important because disability in older adult population often overlaps. I have some experience for my career before current position has been working closely with older adults with disability and also mental health issues. And I've been working as an advocate and also a therapist. And I also have some experience working with the National Council on Disability as well. I'm not, and also in our center, we lead the work of Age Friendly Columbus and Franklin County, which is an initiative to make the city and communities to make it more easier and accessible for all ages. And Age Friendly Columbus has been always for a while in the CAFD committee, and I'm honored to be here representing the older adult population. I'm not running for any position right now, but I will be honored to fill in anything if there is a need at the end, you need to fill it. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you, Unha. Who is next?
I can go.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Tessa Wilson. I'm also one of the new commissioners. I am rather new to disability advocacy, but I am no stranger to advocacy in general. I have worked with Stonewall Columbus in some capacity since around I want to say 2011. I'm also a video producer by trade and specialized in nonprofit videos, usually for events. But some of my clients include Stonewall Columbus, Greater Columbus Arts Council, the YWCA, and on a personal note, I live with chronic illness and chronic pain and have facilitated what they call Live Yes facilitator groups with the Arthritis Foundation and have volunteered with the local chapter. I am also not running for anything, but can help out wherever.
Great, thank you so much. Bob, go ahead.
I'm Bob Ream. The brief story is I was hit by a truck while bicycling and live with a traumatic brain injury. But I'm gonna back up 1 year because I've been an advocate for many different groups, and in 1977, I suddenly came out as gay and became a gay activist. Now, the word gay is an old dated term now, and I can't keep up with all the new language, but that was what I did for about a year. And then bicycling home from Marion County, Ohio, I was hit by a truck, taken to Marion General Hospital, where Jordan was born, by the way. Was in the hospital for 3 weeks, in a coma for a while, and slowly coming back. And I'm very persistent. So in the hospital, wearing a hospital gown, I called Collect, the publisher of a gay newspaper in Cleveland, and I said, I'm gonna write about gay life in Marion, Ohio. That's about the last thing I could have done in a hospital gown, anyway. So I've been involved with a lot of different advocacy things. One particular one is transportation equity, as I call it. Equity is still legal here. A lot of people can't get around because of lack of access to transportation. So that's been one of my big ones. Street signs that we're talking about. I was at a meeting at the Columbus Foundation and was waiting for a COTA bus. And couldn't figure out why the bicycle path in front of the bus stop went up 6 inches and then 20 feet later went back down. And I now know it's because people in wheelchairs waiting for the bus can roll across that raised area to get out to the bus stop that's now about 8 feet away from what used to be the curve. So things are moving. I'm not running for an office. I'm often near being overwhelmed with too much to do. Getting 300 email messages from this group was almost caused me to quit. I just couldn't take it. I hope we can manage our email lists in some better way than that many. Anyway.
Great, thank you, Bob. Justin, do you want to go next?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Justin Simmons, born and raised in Columbus, Ohio. I am a newly father. I just had a baby boy back in April 1st. I also own a business in Columbus, a laundromat, so I run that, and also I just got my real estate license, so I'm figuring that out as well. So I just been, some point last year, I just want to get involved in the city and give back, and I saw this on Facebook and I applied, and so I'm excited to be here. I'm not currently interested in running any positions, but if there's a position need to be filled, I'll take it, but thank you.
Wonderful, thank you, Justin. I believe that is everyone here in the room, commissioner wise. So I'm going to start moving to online. Alexia, do you want to go next?
Sure. This is Alexia. Good to see all of you. I was bummed I couldn't be in person this month, but I'm hoping to in August. I am hard of hearing, wear hearing aids in both ears, so like many of you who were born with your disabilities, been an advocate my whole life by necessity, not always choice. But happy to be in the advocacy community. I have previously worked at Disability Rights Ohio doing community engagement in the policy realm, so I've done a lot of advocacy at the state level. I'm really interested in learning more about the city level. I previously served as chair as the Ohio Olmstead Task Force and was involved in a number of legislative issues leading to increased wages for direct care workers and forming the first support service professional program for deafblind Ohioans. I currently work at the American Association of People with Disabilities. So my work is national now. So I get to work in lots of different states, which is great. But I really miss getting to be involved in more on the ground work. So I'm excited about this commission, and I'm also really passionate about making sure that our whole community is served and reached, including people who might be living in institutions within Columbus and more segregated from community life, as well as people who might have a disability but not identify as disabled. And I will pass to Grace. Oh, sorry, I'm also not interested in running for anything, but here to be helping hands to push whatever forward.
Great, thank you. Grace, last but not least.
Hi, everyone. This is Grace Schultz. Wonderful to see all of you. And I too plan to be in person next month. A little bit about me. I have been dealing with chronic health issues and chronic pain since I was 16 years old. So I was not born with a disability, but I do have health conditions that impact my daily functioning. So I have been really involved in the advocacy space at the federal and state level. So like Alexia, I'm interested in learning more local ways to get involved, and that's why I'm here. I've previously served, I've done a lot of random things. Done a lot of policy work in health policy spaces. So I've done some policy internships, as well as I currently work for a nonprofit that is dedicated to ensuring prescription drug access for all, which is really cool. I am also about to start my Master's of Social Work through Case Western with an emphasis on public policy and disability policy. So I'm very passionate and I plan to be a macro level social worker and continuing to advocate in policy spaces. But I am super excited to be here with all of you. I don't have any particular position I would like to run for, but again, like other folks on the call and in the meeting, if you need me to do something, I will do it. So wonderful to see all of you.
Excellent, thank you, Grace. That was amazing. I loved hearing everyone's little spiel. I don't know if I would have done quite as well doing that on the spot, so kudos to you all. All right, so we are definitely moving right along. We can do one of two things. We can continue kind of discussing amongst ourselves how we want to kind of proceed. Or if folks feel comfortable enough, starting to think about maybe like nomination process to be able to officially designate themselves as a nominee for a position, we can go there too.
This is Josh Carty, Assistant City Attorney. I just have one or two observations for electing the officers. So in my experience, there are a couple ways to go about it. I am hearing, just listening to everybody's, maybe some consensus about who's interested in running for certain positions and who may be willing to just wait until the secretary or historian roles come up, and then we can have maybe some further discussion. But a couple options. You could nominate everybody all at once and have a single vote, or you could go position by position. I think position by position is probably a little cleaner. I would recommend starting with the chair, then going to vice chair, secretary, and historian as it's laid out in the agenda. And what I would recommend is first to nominate somebody, then a second for that nomination. And then we would ask that person if they accept the nomination. If they say yes, we would then have a voice vote is fine to vote on the officer position.
Sounds good to me. That's Robert from the border in there.
Great, I'm seeing a lot of head nods and some verbal agreement with that plan. So. Trisha.
I'd like to nominate Nicole as chair.
Janae.
I second that nomination.
Yeah, I agree. Justin.
I will also.
This is Earnhardt, I also do.
Okay. Go Nicole. I'm sorry, chair Nicole.
Nicole, do you accept your multiple nominations for the position of chair of the Columbus Advisory Commission on Disability Issues?
I was joking. So, first of all, appreciate it. Thank you. I didn't feel smart enough. And I just, because y'all said stuff that sounded another language when it came down to, yeah, well, first of all, thank you. I accept. I'm just not, don't go long. I accept. Oh my God. Oh, boy. Okay.
Any other, Tessa?
I would like to recommend Janae as vice chair.
This isn't how I said that.
Alrighty, Tessa nominates Janae for vice chair. Unha seconded. Janae, do you accept your nomination? Awesome. Thanks.
This is Josh Carty. At this point, then I would just recommend a vote in favor of Nicole as chair, Janae as vice chair, and all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, congratulations, Nicole. You're the chair, and Janae, you're vice chair. And I'll turn it back over to Nate to facilitate the secretary and the story.
Wonderful. Thank you, Josh. Bob, go ahead.
It's a name that's almost Robert. We have to document who moved and seconded.
I am.
For this 5 minutes.
This is Jordan. I've been documenting in the meeting notes, which is the worst job ever. I can't believe, Nathan, you have done this for every meeting. This is so hard to do. Anyway, taking my comment.
That's not encouraging.
Thank you, Jordan, for acknowledging that. Not sure it helps our case for selecting the next one. It is. All right, I'm going to open the floor now to nominations for the role of secretary.
I don't know for sure if you want these, but I'm gonna nominate Una for secretary.
Oh, this is Tessa. I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. Trisha has nominated Unha for the position of secretary. Tessa has seconded. Unha, do you accept your nomination for the role of secretary?
Just laughing about it, but yes, thank you.
We all been shocked today.
Unha has accepted the nomination. Seeing no other nominations, I'll move to vote. All those in favor of electing Unha as the secretary, say aye.
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 All those who oppose? All right, congratulations, Unha, you are now the secretary. Angie.
Christine has her hand raised online. Christine, would you like to go ahead?
Yes, please. I'm wanting to share with people what I put in this chat. We would like your support if you search on Facebook, Instagram, and others. Jordan Bollinger and I and lots of others are part of a group of speaking out to save USEDS and Disability Rights Ohio and other things, okay? Because the federal government is trying to eliminate USEDS, and we could use all the support we could to get it out. And so if you all would please support that, we would deeply appreciate it. Because even Janae, that even includes Lend, could be cut, honestly.
Great, thank you so much for sharing that, Christine. All right, we have one more position to elect for the role of historian, my bad. Any nominations for the role of historian?
This is Tricia again, and I'm gonna nominate, Tessa, if Tessa would be interested. And I wanna add to my nomination, whoever is historian, I have a lot of meeting notes that I can share. I don't wanna take the job because I'm worried about what's gonna happen, my vision, so.
All right, thank you, Trisha. Trisha has nominated Tessa for the position of historian. Does anyone second that nomination?
I second it.
Nicole seconds the nomination. Tessa, do you accept your nomination for historian?
Thank you, yes.
Any other nominations? Bob?
I have a question. As an almost archivist who never got around to it, are we talking about her saving boxes of papers or scanning and creating electronic documents that would be stored in some cloud location?
So, oh,
No, go ahead.
sorry, so the question was related to what exactly the historian's role will be in terms of preserving physical copies or digital copies of the meeting minutes, agendas, other official documents of the commission. I believe my understanding is that the city staff here present today, including the ADA coordinator Angie and human resources employees, Jenny and Zane, have all worked to already start digitizing some of those records and ensuring that the Google Drive also has that, as well as the city website when it was reconstructed. The role of historian, and Jordan, you are more than welcome to chime in if I get this wrong. But the outgoing leadership had kind of envisioned this role to not only help support that kind of preservation of the documentation, but also to just in general provide that kind of support to ensure that CACTI's work continues to be recognized and preserved going forward. So that might look like actual management of those files and documents, right? But it could also be other things to help promote the commission and ensure that folks are able to find information about us in a timely manner and keep everything kind of organized. Because while we all like to think that the commission is here to stay, and the state of the world tells us this too. Not everything is guaranteed. So ensuring that there's a designated person to kind of champion that kind of preservation is really the name of the game for that role.
This is Jordan. I'll just add one thing, which is one of the biggest issues I think I see always is succession planning. So the historian would really oversee ensuring that as new leadership comes in, that they feel supported in taking on those leadership roles and they have the documentation and the information needed to take on those roles. So right now, right, the new leadership will be transitioned by myself, Nathan, and Emma. So moving forward, there will be more of a robust succession planning that that historian would oversee.
Great, thank you, Jordan. Hopefully that answers questions. Does anyone else have any questions or thoughts about the role of historian? Janae.
My other thought or question is that would the historian make sure that if we have documentation that needs to be published, that is kind of working in collaboration with the secretary and the chair and vice chair to make sure that things are accurate as well, too?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say that would be a very good role to assume, duty.
Okay, thank you.
Trisha.
This is Trisha speaking. I just hope I know I don't want to give you too much work to do, but it'd be nice if we could like search back through the records, anybody, not just on the commission. Cause I've often, wanted to say, what did we do back then when we had that review of such and such? And because the website was updated, it's hard to find things. So if we can get, maybe you've already started, maybe it's already there. I just don't know where to look. So thank you.
Nicole.
I just wanna say you're not by yourself, sweetheart. We're not gonna just throw all that stuff on you and then you just, you at home with a pile of paper. We got you. We gonna help.
Thank you for that, Trisha and Nicole. Any other thoughts or comments before we move on? Seeing none, I will motion to elect Tessa for the role of historian. All those in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
those who oppose? Great, sorry about that, folks online. Seeing none, Tessa, congratulations. You are now the historian for the Columbus Advisory Commission on Disability. Amazing. Trisha.
I just wanted to add to Grace, who volunteered to take any position, that, I hope you'll feel like you're still part and you can run for next year and also, or whatever the terms are. And then I'm sure you'll be helpful to all the other officers. Thanks for offering to be serving.
Great, thank you for that, Trisha. Yes, there are only 11 commissioners, and while that seems like a lot of folks, that is not. And so even though there are only 4 elected roles, you are all leaders and you are all capable of supporting and moving forward the mission and vision of this commission, as well as supporting disability advocacy work here in the city. So don't feel like, not having a position or title makes you any lesser than. Okay, we are moving right along. So it is now, let's see, 2:53. We are all done with officer elections. The next thing on the agenda was transition planning and next steps. I envisioned that as just kind of tying up any knots or answering any questions or facilitating any kind of discussion about what this looks like going forward. For the folks who have been elected, you will be probably meeting one-on-one or in some capacity, interacting with the outgoing leadership and then the city staff who are present here today and help support CACD. So this is, to Jordan's point and everyone else who said it as well, reiterating it. This is not where we just throw this at you and wish you luck and hope that you figure it out. We are here to support you step by step. I know Emma would agree with that as well, and Jordan has said it too. And I totally mean it with all my heart too. We will support you guys and help you get started. For the historian, that role will probably be something that one of us 3 and city staff will kind of designate someone to meet with and kind of go over everything. So just be on the lookout for that correspondence, and of course we can chat about that and what works best. This also means that next month's meeting will also be led by the new officers. So I will be stepping out of this role. Jordan will not be here to facilitate. At least, he might be here, but not facilitating. So we will definitely try to be present still in case there are things that need to be worked on or worked out. But really, we're hoping that the next leadership is ready by then to at least facilitate the next meeting. Any thoughts, questions, anything from you all?
This is Josh Carty. A couple of reminders for the officers. You were just elected to 2-year terms, and I don't remember who has a 1-year, 2-year, or 3-year term. If your term is 1 year, then your term will be contingent upon your continued service on CACD. So when your 1-year term goes up, if you're reappointed and confirmed by council, you'll continue in your officer role. And then the only other thing that I would have to add is I would urge the commission to, and the leadership to consider drafting bylaws for the procedures that go on in CACD. The bylaws are essentially how you govern yourself, how the meetings are organized, if you want to have public comment period, that sort of thing. The city attorney's office has bylaw templates, so Nicole and Janae, Unhan, Tessa, feel free to reach out to me and we can get together to help you.
Great, thank you. Janae.
This is Janae. I have a question for you, Josh. As someone who has a 1-year term, how does the reappointment go? If they need to be reappointed by city council, how will that go?
Sure, so HR can also answer some of this question, but generally how it works is the department, if the commissioner board member is interested in continuing to serve, you'll have a discussion with HR. HR will then send your appointment to the mayor's office, get their approval, and then it will go to city council.
Okay, so is there an application that would need to be filled out or just a discussion that needs to be had?
I don't think there's any application that would need to be filled out now.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And as far as timelines, anyone who has a 1-year term, I think those terms go up, in the summer, sometime June, whatever the date of your first appointment was. So be thinking about whether you want to continue service a couple of months in advance.
Great, thank you, Josh. Bob?
Bob Regan. I have a question, I'm not sure how to word it. If somebody completely unfamiliar with this commission wanted to find the commission and they walked into City Hall looking for it, would they be sent somewhere? I mean, how would they connect with the commission?
Angie, I'm gonna pass that over to you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yep, this is Angie. Bob, just to clarify, do you mean if they were on any day to go into City Hall and ask about the commission, or just like today if they were trying to find the meeting location?
Like Parks and Recreation has an office and I know where it is. In other divisions, like the pavement people I just met today, they have an office probably, but is there an office or a physical location for this commission?
That would probably, this is Angie, that would probably be my office. I do have the owls, so. But I am the person that updates columbus.gov.
Okay.
And so, you know, as soon as we get a formalized agenda, I try to post that on the website. I do have all of the dates that had previously been determined for this year up on the website. You know, the only kind of issue that we've come across is the hearing room where we were previously meeting is getting a technology revamp, and that's why we're here. So I'd like ongoing discussion about whether, you know, we're gonna be in this room till probably at least October, so let's say December, right? So then we can talk amongst the commission about whether we'd like to stay or go back to the Michael Coleman building. Trisha has emailed me recommending, you know, that we try to get the word out more, so perhaps we can ask social media posts to be made to encourage more of the public to attend. But my email is all over columbus.gov, and so I think hopefully people will email me directly if they want to know, and then I've been sending them the website about the meetings. Janae.
Janae, I have two quick questions. One is, this may sound like a silly question, where is the Michael B. Coleman room?
This is Angie. So the Michael B. Coleman building is the building that is immediately across the street from us. And we were previously meeting in the hearing room of that building on the second floor.
Okay.
In person.
What's the address for that building?
This is Angie, 111 North Front Street.
Okay, gotcha. And this is Janae again. I have another question. Will these meetings be on the city's Zoom account, or this kind of sort of public-private, private-public? How does that work?
This is Angie. We just this week, I believe, after a very long process, got our official CACD Zoom Pro account. So this is our first meeting utilizing that account. And then Janae, I know that you have asked about posting the recording, much like city council does. So I did speak to Josh, and that is something that can be done.
This is Janae. I was only asking because I know that when you look on the city's YouTube channel, there are other city council or commission type groups that have their meetings that it looks like they're also on the city's YouTube channel. I just didn't know if ours was like that or if ours was private. Just wanted to know.
This is Angie. So yeah, I mean, if that's something that the commission wants to be done, then certainly we will proceed with getting that posted, and thank you for that suggestion. And I think that will help to get the word out about CACD as well.
Any other thoughts, comments, or questions? All right. If there are more thoughts or questions that come up about the transition or next steps, feel free to just chime in. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and move forward with the agenda. And next up is community issues and announcements. Today, to begin, I wanted to make sure we had invited the folks from the Division of Infrastructure to come talk about a volunteer request.
Up there. Afternoon. My name is Josh Levan with Public Service. I'm in infrastructure management, and along with pavements, my group also handles ADA ramps in the right of way. So we pull together the list for the annual citywide ADA ramp program, which builds ramps around the city. And we're looking at trying to educate ourselves, I guess, a little bit more on ramps and how they're used mainly by wheelchair users, but also other people with disabilities. So again, I'm not in a wheelchair. We now have a wheelchair actually. So thanks to Public Health for donating that. But we want to kind of learn how, what it feels like to use a ramp with a wheelchair, as well as maybe some other disabilities. But we're just reaching out for maybe some contacts of different advocacy groups or volunteers that could help us and kind of take us out in the field, and we could use a ADA compliant ramp, a non-compliant ramp, and kind of feel what it's like, just so kind of to help us understand more, be better planners, help design these ramps a little bit better. So anyone who has contacts or people who would be willing to go out with us to educate us would be great.
This is Enha. I work with the Age Friendly Columbus and Franklin County. We have a group of folks who are on the resident council who will be always interested in come out and help as well. So I would love to be connected with you. So just emailing you directly. Okay.
Yeah.
This is Janae. One note, people who are blind use the wheelchair ramp as well, especially these days because canes nowadays don't have a pointy tip. Some people still do, but most of them have a rubber tip. So when you're navigating a sidewalk and you need to find where the crosswalk is to cross, that wheelchair ramp having the tactile bumps on it is helpful to distinguish that we're at a wheelchair ramp and that we're going down.
Sure.
To the street.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So just FYI, and a note.
Yeah. So that.
This is Angie. I'm happy to email all of the commissioners, Josh and Ally's email address to get you all connected. So I will be sending that out sometime by the end of the day tomorrow.
Great. Thanks, Angie.
This is Angie again. Thank you guys for coming to present.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. I'm going to open the floor now to any other community folks, people sitting in our audience area, if you will, in case they have any thoughts or anything they would like to share with the commissioners.
This is Nicole. If we can limit our speaking to just 2 minutes, because remember, we're on a time limit, because there's somebody else that needs this room. So whoever saying like, oh, there's a line. Okay, come on, y'all.
This is my first time here, Mr. Nathaniel George Wilkins, a resident.
If you speak a little louder, please.
Nathaniel George Wilkins, 1612 Arlington Avenue, Mr. Nathaniel George Wilkins. I'm a resident of the North London area. I'm also a commissioner, so, the thing that I want to say, this young lady talked about the cane, and my wife is all the way blind, and I want to come here and give a lot of input. Is because when people are multi-disability, visually impaired and blind, they don't know where they're walking up to. Just like my wife is Miss Elizabeth Easted, and she would have been here tonight. And the thing here bothers me when people are visually impaired, they don't know what intersection they'll come into, what crosswalks or anything else like that. I would like to see more of the technology to be more emphasized in a blind cane or some type of listening device, what road they're coming to, what crosswalk, what intersection, what businesses, what street they're on. It's because I'm a full advocacy for multi-disability visually impaired because my wife is like that. And so looking at this entity, we have to have the technology to be put in place. And I will say thank you for your time.
This is Nicole. Before you leave, come on, sit back down. Real quick. North Linden is huge. Can you give us like a 3-block, 6-block from where you live? Give us an area that we can really look at so that we can be more effective for you.
First of all, let me just say this, Mr. Lothair George Wilkins, 1612 Arlington Avenue.
That's your address?
Yes.
Well, slow down talking so I can 1612 North, say that again, North.
Let me just say this, I'm so used to this is because I usually go to city council and in full advocacy for vacant and abandoned properties. So again, my name is Mr. Lothair George Wilkins, 1612 Arlington
Okay,
Avenue.
how's you spell Arlington?
I believe that's 1612 ARLINGTON Avenue.
Okay.
Columbus, Ohio, 43211. Okay. North Linden area begins at Hudson and Cleveland Avenue or go all the way up to Cook and Ferris. South Linden begins at Cleveland and Fifth, goes up to Cleveland and Hudson. This particular neighborhood is a lack of need for a lot of things for multi-disability and wheelchair accessibility. And so, you know, I'm not gonna go into a lot of details, but I will give you part of my history. I served on the committee for vacant and abandoned property for the last 15 years, tackling vacant and abandoned property and also in housing for multi-disability housing. And so I've been heavily involved in that for quite some time. I'm also a visually impaired person, so I have to have things up close and large print and everything else. And so to close in this, I would say I've been in full advocacy for my community for a long time. I see there's a need for multi-disability in that neighborhood and a lack of houses for low-income people and for especially need for elderly and population people in that community. And so I try to do what I can for my community. Like I say, I'm a very passionate person when it comes to housing and government and also coded transportation. I've been a long coded driver or a coded passenger for over 51 years. And so I see the need that we need more transportation and more service out there. And I do say thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming back. I
Thank you
appreciate it.
for speaking with us today. I want to just make a quick comment regarding the traffic signal. There are apps that are on your phone, and I can have someone come in and talk about those apps that can help a visually impaired person know where the crosswalks are, when to cross, when not to cross. There's plenty of technology out there that assists people who are blind, visually impaired with navigating crosswalks and intersections. So I will work on getting someone to come and speak to the commission, presenting that information.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, and then Janae for your comments as well. Anyone else? Trisha.
I just wanted to follow up on something that came up 2 or 3 months ago. I think it was Christine asking about sidewalks to the development of disability location near the corner of Stelzer and Johnstown. And I mentioned in the meeting that I thought I heard that we were gonna get the side path there. I thought it was this year. I contacted the Franklin County engineers and it's not funded or anything, so I just wanted to clarify that and maybe we could work with the city of Columbus. I'm not sure if that's actually Columbus or county, so to try to see if we can move that more quickly. So I just want to clarify, I made a mistake earlier. Thank you.
Thank you, Trisha. Belinda.
Christine, are you still online?
This is Angie, she is not.
Okay, thank you. This is Belinda. Christine and I were working on the sidewalks in front of Franklin County Board of Developmental Disabilities. Then ADA coordinator Zane Jones assisted us with 311 to run that through. We couldn't get attention on it. So I'm going to ask Mr. Jones if he knows an update on that, because I would like to know too, Tricia. Thanks for checking on that, by the way.
This is Zane. I hope everyone's doing well. I do not have an update on that, not due to lack of will, but just due to the fact that I got back from deployment yesterday.
Yes, sir, you hero.
And have been away, so I
Hoorah.
want to make sure that I'm taking the right request for information from you. So from Commissioner Kovacs, not Tricia. If you're looking for an update on Stelzer, I believe that's city proper, it's city, not county. And I know what you're talking about, but Linda, are you referring to the same thing?
Yes, Stelzer
Okay.
and Johnstown.
All right, so there aren't two different requests, just the singular.
Same one.
Are you talking about the Johnstown down the street? Or
What it is that from, go ahead, Commissioner.
Yeah, it's the Development of Disabilities. I think it's Franklin County Development of Disabilities, right? That's the building. And there's no sidewalks on Johnstown that whole way, but the city and the county are planning to put a side path in the whole way from Cassidy all the way, I think, to 270. I thought it was gonna be already funded through Link Us or Bike Plus, one of those plans.
Yeah.
But I found that it's not currently funded, so I talked with Mike and Draco, Mike from the engineering department, he didn't know when it would be on a timeline, so I feel like that's a really important location to be able to get to, cause I think the bus drops off the corner and you have to walk along the street to get to it.
You do.
Yeah, just for context, and please bear with me, this is Zane. I'm pulling this from memory, so Stelzer and Johnstown, right? Very close to the airport, an area that's seen a lot of recent development, especially now, as they're renovating the airport. There is a gap between, the bus station, which is located on the southeast corner. That essentially someone who would disembark POTA bus from that position would not be able to make a sideway path to the Franklin County office, which is right down the street. There is a new sheets across the street, and obviously having been a new development, that had to comply, and they had to have, accessible walkways and pathways. If I recall correctly, it had been identified for phased improvement, right? Because there's a long pathway or trail that sort of follows that way with the recent legislation that went through in last November. I don't know I can't recall off the top of my head what phase that was in or when it would be implemented, but we can take that away and get an update, publish it.
Thank you, Zane, for that, Tricia. This is Tricia. Thank you for that update.
This is Angie. I have a comment from Chet Reitener online. He says, Angie, can you share any from the updates from the city on how Vio and spin scooters continue to be parked in the middle of sidewalks and literally on top of ADA ramps, impeding and obstructing pedestrian movement within the public right of way? Our neighbors unfortunately see this ongoing issue every day in our Short North neighborhood as it continues to be nuance that negatively impacts our elderly residents at Ohio Living and at the nearby Garden Rehabilitation Center. There does not appear to be an end in sight here. I would encourage new CACD commissioners to educate themselves on this problem that hasn't been adequately resolved for over 7 years now.
Now, this is Janae, if I can jump in and say, it's not just a Short North area, it's even the issue with downtown. Because one of the members of my chapter has complained that the scooter is laying in the sidewalk, and if you're blind and you're walking down the sidewalk navigating with your cane, you come across a scooter, you're trying to figure out how to get around it, or it's so in the way that you almost trip over it. So it's an issue across the city that we need to address.
This is Nicole. I got a question. I remember at one time scooters had noises, but is that only when they run out of power? Or is there a way for us to incorporate something in them so that, I don't know. I don't remember if I heard one or I might be making it up, but just, I think that scooters, when they ran out of power, but that's different than when someone just lays it down. Is that what you're saying, Janae?
Yes, it's not even being put back, so if someone rents a scooter, apparently it's not probably being returned, probably from where they got it from, and it's just in the middle of the sidewalk,
Okay.
so.
This is Tricia Kovacs again. When Chet was here, he mentioned that the scooter operators were told that if there's a 311 submitted, they have to get it fixed, moved or whatever within 1 hour. And so I have posted that on social media to some of the groups I'm in, but if the city could somehow get that word out, I don't know if there's, I get some emails from the city, something just to let everybody know. If you see it, report it on 311 and I don't know if there's a way for the city to track that's actually happening, that they're actually getting it moved within an hour.
This is Zane. So I'll try and answer that question and then maybe offer up a brief bit of context for the commissioners regarding the scooters, which anyone with this history of this commission knows that it's a passionate subject of mine. So you repeat your question again, Tricia, I just lost my train of thought.
Oh, no, I just mentioned that we were told if you reported the 311, it should be resolved by the scooter operators needed within an hour.
So this is Zane, so the retention of 311s, like they are captured and we would be able to report on something like that. So if that's something that the commission is interested in getting information on, we could do that. For additional context as it relates to scooters, and if this is old information for some of you, I apologize, just bear with me. So scooters started showing up in our community and other communities in around 2018. And the way that they sort of appeared, it was kind of, from the observer standpoint, a little bit of a free for all, right? We had different companies, they would drop the scooters into the community, their app would then go live, and they would just begin to be used by residents. That continued really in the manner that I think most of you all have observed until about last year, when the city moved from a licensure system, meaning that a vendor would have to be licensed with the city of Columbus to operate the scooters and sort of abide by the rules of the license, to a contracted basis. So there's now a contractor that has to abide by the contract. In principle, the expectation, and this is where I think we can probably get a little bit more information, is that the contract offers better control and better enforcement mechanisms for a variety of reasons than did a licensing system. If for no other reason, because you're now dealing with like a sole contractor or less. You're not having 5 or so different vendors all competing for the same area. And how do they compete? They compete by more and more scooters. So scooters were coming back. Scooters were definitely on my list of things that I wanted to get an update on personally. And so we can dig into that in addition to the Stelter request.
Makes a difference. Janae.
This is Janae, I'm gonna add, does anybody else that has a comment for our time winding down?
It is 3:20.
3:20. No other comment from our guests in the audience? Speak now, forever hold on your peace.
I think we have one person coming up to the podium.
It just said. Thank you. This is a comment from me and Belinda. Let me speak into the mic.
Yes, you need to use the mic, sir.
There was a document that you guys discussed.
Need to state your name, sir.
Oh, I am so sorry. My name is Edward Andrews. People call me Drew for short, local Columbus resident.
The finest in the room.
Oh, you know what? You got my vote not only for chair, but president in 2020.
So we tell you that every time I see you, so I gotta tell you that. You know me good. Every time I see you, I gotta tell you.
I'm loving Nicole.
Okay.
Best decision you guys ever made.
Yes.
So there was a 423 page document that you guys could not get converted. And I knew that I could get it converted for you guys. So
So for folk like you, Janae, who are visually impaired, you need to be able to read it. And I think that is fair. So I had already started on it. There's gonna have to be some formatting going on, but it can be done, so you guys don't have to give up on that project. Um, what I, I'm a graphic designer, and just a little bit about me. I have concerns about the disabled community and like to advocate for them as well. So I'm not here to take anybody's position. I'm just here to get in where I fit in. If there's something that needs to be done, I'll slip in and help you guys do it. If you guys have it under control and don't need me, I'll be the biggest and loudest cheerleader, and as Nicole said, finest cheerleader in the room. So just wanted to introduce myself. I'll be usually sitting somewhere in the guest portion. Just use me, guys, as you see fit, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Andrews.
Yes, I'm saying, what was your name, sir?
Edward Andrews.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, sir.
Wonderful, you guys are already forming an allyship. I love it.
This is Angie. This is Angie. Jordan, your hand's raised. We can go ahead, please.
I just had a clarifying, this is Jordan. I had a clarifying question for the previous speaker. Is the 423-page document you're referring to the 1999 ADA plan? Just for the notes, that's the only reason why.
92, 95 appendix.
92, 95 appendix.
Thank you.
Any other questions, thoughts, comments, community issues? Trisha?
I'm gonna be speaking so much, but I sent Angie a list of some ideas I had of things we could do, and try to on a list, but if people have ideas of things, projects we wanna work on, I don't know who's, probably send them to Nicole. Like the people on our agendas, example is, navigation for people who are blind, stuff like that.
I agree. I appreciate that. One of the things that I do, this is Nicole, I'm sorry, y'all. One of the things that I do want to do is timeline, because we are throwing out a lot of things. So I would like to say, the month of August, we'll focus on what you're passionate about, because I'm also a veteran. Zach, what Zach talked about, Janae, what you talked about, so that we can start, or if we can do it in increments so that we can start resolving and getting information. I think when you blanket it, some things, it kind of can get confusing where we have timelines on some things, okay? So that's one of the suggestions that I had. And so that's one of the suggestions I would like to, bring forth to the commissioners.
This is Angie, and previous CACD leadership, I would join a leadership meeting two weeks prior to the CACD meeting. So now that we have officers, y'all, we are ready to roll. And
I can tell it.
Yeah, and I will share Trisha's email with the leadership staff about topics, and we've had some other input as well, so we can get going on all of that, which I'm very excited for.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. If there are no other comments, questions, or community issues to be brought up, I think we can start moving to closing this meeting. I'm going to pass it over to the chair.
I'm still not ready. This is Nicole. Bear with me. There's gonna be I'm calling a whole lot of folks. So, we're gonna adjourn this meeting. One, congratulations to every single one of y'all. I am one that there's no such thing as one leader. We're all leaders in the community. The community needs us all. So I am not a bow down kind of person. I never will be. We're here to help one another and make things happen. So we're gonna adjourn this meeting. Thank you to all the previous leadership, all the great things you've done, and everyone who started this thing, been here since this conception. We appreciate you all. Now we're gonna say goodbye so people get in here and get ready for the next meeting. Appreciate you as a leader, Councilman, the lawyer that's in the room, Josh. We appreciate you. And Angie, we appreciate you. We're here to support one another, make sure that we are just taking the city by storm, because I think there's some great people on this team. I'm excited. I don't know why y'all chose me, but y'all, but we're gonna make some things happen. We're gonna have fun. So you guys, thank you for the interpreters online. Y'all's hands been flying. Y'all have been doing such an excellent job. We appreciate y'all so much. We don't take lightly y'all's heart in doing this for us. So, without further ado, I move to close the meeting.
Wonderful. Just one last quick reminder, the next meeting is slated for August 28th at 2 p.m. Again, that's August 28th at 2 p.m. Same room, yes, so it will be here in the parking garage conference room. It's wonderful. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
God is the biggest comedian on the planet.
Congratulations, or condolences.
Think both for, as long as you're around and you can help me do the right thing. Thank you. 'Cause I.
Congratulations.
Yes, sir, and I'm gonna go
This
sit
is
you.
my first time being here. My wife would have been here